Hello.
Hello.
We are back.
Indeed.
Yeah. As many of you will know that follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all the other different social medias, the reason why we haven't been around is because our little Eric passed away. So it was a massive shock to us both. We weren't expecting it, and it's been hard, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
We'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel whilst we've been away. Can we say thank you to Kevin Farrell and for Sharon Littell?
That's how you pronounce it, is it Littell?
I hope so.
Yeah.
And Andrew Boone, who very kindly sent in a donation to give Eric a treat, and he did have them treats, so thank you very much. Also like to say thank you to our Patreons, wouldn't we? That's Wayward and also Mark Danbach as well.
It's either Danbach or Danbach. I'm not quite sure how that is pronounced, but so thank you.
Please forgive us.
Yeah.
And thank you very, very much.
And while we're on the subject of saying thank yous, we'll say hi as well to Colin and Julie, who met us at Tring Reservoirs. They pulled up in their lovely Aquiline.
Very nice.
Yeah, brand new Aquiline. They've had it, I think they said, since February.
Yeah.
So it looks incredible. We've seen the photos from the inside because obviously we couldn't go on board because we're socially distancing, and it looked amazing. So hello to you two.
Yeah, and thank you very much for helping us through our first lock.
Yes, which eases us nicely into the second thing, or the second bit of news, which is that in the UK they are easing lockdown. We moved from Tring Reservoirs because, I think we do say it later on, but because it just got so busy. I mean, there were thousands of people on the hot sunny days, and so we decided we were going to go somewhere a bit quieter, and the instructions from the CRT, you can do short trips, so we only moved 3.5 miles. But the other instruction from the CRT is to avoid locks if you can. Well, we couldn't because we were in a pound where there were locks either end. There were 5 locks that end and I think 2 locks this end. So either way we were going to go through locks, and we needed to get water, and the water point was up the 5 or the 6 locks rather. So that's the reason why you see us using the locks in this video, but we do have some actual cruising footage for you, and it was a beautiful day.
It was a beautiful day, and we had actually stayed at Tring Reservoir since the 4th of March.
4th of March, that's how stir crazy we were going.
So we'd been there an awful long time, and it was really getting too dangerous for us to be there.
Yeah, I mean dangerous in the sense that there was a lot of people about and it was very difficult to socially distance. We were effectively for some days just trapped in the boat because everywhere you went there were people. At one point one woman even leaned on our boat to have her photograph taken, which didn't go down too well with Julie.
No. Slightly cross.
Yeah, so they're easing the lockdown rules. In England they're doing a thing called test, track and trace, which is
one day they will.
Yeah, which
they're
is
not doing it now.
Well, they're hoping to at least. And I think in Scotland they're doing something called test, isolate, track, and support. Is that right?
No.
Where is it then?
It's the other way round.
What? Test, track, isolate, and support. Are you sure it's not test, isolate, track, and support? What are you laughing for?
You worked that out.
What out?
Initials.
Test, isolate, track, and support.
The wrong way round.
Well, maybe it is that way then.
Oh, I know that Scotland's got it right, and we very much haven't got it right.
Well, their name's catchier. No one's going to forget that, are they? So we just took the decision to move the boat, and we are now at a place called Cow Roast.
Yeah.
Which is an old English cow. Drovers used to come through here?
The drovers used to come through bringing their cows.
But they didn't used to roast the cows, which sounds a bit weird. It was originally called Cow Rest, and for some reason it got sort of changed to Cow Roast over the years. So originally it was a spot where they would stop called Cow Rest.
Yeah,
So.
and rest the cows.
Yeah.
It's quite a nice area. We've got a water point, we've got toilets, we've got rubbish and everything here. We have got a very, very narrow towpath, which is very difficult to pass on. But we're not going out of the boat other than once a week anyway, so
yeah,
we're trying to limit our time outside.
And it is a balance as well. I mean, we had loads of space at Tring Reservoirs, but we had probably 2,000 people visit last weekend. Here it's a narrow towpath, but we only get maybe 20, 30 people walk by in a day, which sounds like a lot, but it's not really. So when you go out onto the towpath, you're actually quite safe. Whereas at Tring, you'd be stood there talking to the boat next to you, 2 metres apart, and a jogger would run between you, huffing and puffing as they went, and you immediately have to turn your back because you think that all manner of germs are being passed on. So that was the reason why we left there.
Yeah.
So yeah. And
it was a sense of relief, actually.
It was amazing to actually finally steer the boat. It was like taking a big sigh. It's like that. It was like a weight was lifted when we went into that first lock. It was amazing.
A bit scary though. A bit nerve-wracking. Not scary. Nerve-wracking. We haven't travelled on the boat for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Oh, since the 4th of March.
Yeah, so 2.5 months.
Yeah, and you sort of wonder whether you're going to forget how to steer the boat. Luckily, I hadn't forgotten how to steer the boat, and I was as brilliant as I always am. Didn't hit a single lock.
No, you didn't.
Didn't hit a single bridge. Just it was smooth and faultless, wasn't it?
Well done.
Thank you. It's about time you gave me a round of applause for something. So there we are. Right, yes. So without further ado, we will play you the footage of our video. In it you'll see some clips. It's a bit random because it's a throwback to the lockdown video, so we've got some scenes of some swans and some views and other bits and pieces. But stick with it because about a quarter of the way through we do some cruising.
Yay!
Oh, and stick to the end as a little tribute to Eric.
Yeah. Look at all the weed on the side of the boat.
We've been here so long it's grown a beard.
It has. You're going to have to do some work.
Doing what? Shaving the boat?
Yeah, shave the boat.
Got to shave the boat. Hello.
Hello.
So today we are moving.
Epic day.
Epic day. We've been here since the
4th of March.
4th of March. So lockdown has lasted 2.5 months for us.
Yeah, and we're still in lockdown as it is now, but we are allowed to move the boat, which is quite nice because we're going to head back towards the Thames.
We are, and the reason why we're moving today rather than staying where we are, even though we can stay where we are, is because it's just getting too busy here. I mean, yesterday we saw probably 1,000 visitors to the reservoir. At the weekend it was probably 2,000. It's so bad that the car park was full. The grass verges were full. Every entrance there was at least 20 or 30 cars. So
they were parked on country lanes, on corners and bends.
And it's their right to do it. The government have said they can come and exercise, so we're not complaining that they've come here, but it's just too busy for us. We can't leave the boat because there are people everywhere.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and find somewhere quieter.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want 10, 15 people sat outside the side of your boat having a picnic, so
no.
it's time to move on.
Time to move on.
Let's go somewhere
you'll
else.
see some actual footage.
First time in, I don't know how many weeks.
2.5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, first time in 2.5 months.
Good grief. So what happened then, Mark? We go to leave our mooring.
And 2 boats go through.
Never been done before.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of boats moored up there when we came through.
Was there?
Yeah, but the water point was nice and clear.
Okay.
And some lads came down on their mountain bike.
Yeah.
And there's a big sign.
Did look like it.
I was impressed with them one Bennett neighbour that stood on top doing it with their foot on the pillar. So, here we go folks, we're on our first lock. We've got 5 more to do. Unfortunately, as we said earlier, whenever we try and set off, the Wild and his wife decides to move. So, but there's been virtually no boat movement for 12 weeks, certainly for 6 weeks. And we set off this morning and 2 boats go through. So we're now going to be in a convoy, and unfortunately all the locks are going to be set against us. But that's okay, the sun is shining, and we've got help from Colin, one of our viewers, who's moored up in the same pound as us. And of course all the way here, it's been going up.
Yeah.
Now, once you've got round there, it's going down.
Yeah, you've got the summit, haven't you?
Yes, you've got to worry about the sill.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. Cool.
You never thought about it before.
Certainly doesn't feel like lockdown, though, does it? Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so this is lock 3 or 4, I'm losing count. Julie's had to go on up to the next lock because the pounds are quite low, so I'm going to sit in this lock with the gates open, and then she's going to empty the next lock because we are following a narrow boat and a wide beam. So she's going to empty the next lock into this pound just to give us that little bit extra water, because although we can stick to the middle channel, you never know A, what's under the water, and B, exactly how deep the pound is. So it just makes sense to sit here until she's put the water in from the lock above, to make passage easier. Yeah, just take them off and wash around.
So wet.
I don't know how doctors wear them all day.
Huh?
I don't know how doctors and nurses wear them all day.
I suppose it's really hot at the moment as well, isn't it?
Why are we waiting? Well, still in the lock. Still waiting for the other lock to come free. We've got a bit of a convoy, Big 10-4. Julie's gone ahead to have a look and see whether she can help clear the blockage. Meanwhile, I'm stood here in glorious sunshine, twiddling my thumbs. Still, could be worse. Life on the canals is always at slow pace.
Okay, so the hold up is the wide beam is going into the boatyard, and they are having to juggle around all the different boats that are up there at the boatyard, because they're all blocking the navigation where they're having to move one another. So we're just having to wait for the boatyard to move all the different boats around, and then we can go up through the last lock and on our way. Narrowboat coming! No! It has been a busy morning, hasn't it? Yeah, I'm watching, you're fine.
You go down? Right, back up the window. I'm about to put this over there if it's easier, or you can go through, whatever's easiest.
We'll just come round the back of them and then they can broadside you, and so we can come round too. Don't worry.
Perfect.
No fuss.
We'll
no
get
bother.
You don't see a boat for weeks and weeks
just
and
about
weeks.
to say I haven't seen a boat for weeks.
This is the fun bit though.
You always meet them at the worst possible place, though, don't you?
Thank you for watching.
And if you like the video, if you can give it a thumbs up.
Don't forget to subscribe. Our subscriber count is now at 5,500, which is I'm really pleased with, because we didn't really post any videos for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But we want to get it near. We want to get it to 6,000 if we can. If you could subscribe and then click the bell icon, that would give you notifications when we post new videos, which we promise won't be another 3 weeks.
No, definitely not.
No, and if you've got any comments that you want to leave down below, then please do so. You've been absolutely wonderful with your comments over the last 3 weeks. We've had tons and tons and tons of messages.
The support has been incredible, actually, and it's made such a huge difference.
It has. Oh, and we should apologise as well. We do still have your wildlife photos and some of your videos that you've sent in of your surroundings. We aren't ignoring you. Obviously things took a slightly darker turn, and we didn't think it was right to include them in this video, but we will include them in future vlogs.
Yes, so keep watching.
Keep watching, see your video.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.